Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. This time we're looking at some of the most interesting trends in the entertainment world, especially when it comes to concerts, festivals, and streaming. We found this really interesting industry newsletter that breaks it all down.
That's fun.
Yeah, are you ready to kind of see what's shaking things up out there?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay, cool. So the first thing that really jumped out at me was how some of these big name music festivals are hitting a few roadblocks this year. Coachella, Burning Man, the kind of big names. They're facing some pretty serious challenges. And the newsletter points to a couple different things that are happening at the same time here.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of economic concerns. People are a little more cautious with their spending, especially with inflation and things like that. And then on top of that, you've got these extreme weather events that are kind of making those outdoor events a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, those tickets are not cheap. And yeah, who wants to be sweating buckets or stuck in a mud pit when you're trying to enjoy a concert? But you know what I thought was really interesting was the author's point about festivals needing to create these really unique, almost like tribal experiences now. They're saying just having the big name acts isn't really enough anymore. It's about fostering that sense of community, a shared experience that goes beyond just the music. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. In a world that's increasingly individualized and everybody's kind of in their own little bubble, there's almost this hunger for these shared experiences.
Yeah.
These moments where we feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. And I think festivals have a real potential to tap into that.
Totally. I might skip a concert if it's just another show, but if I feel like it's a chance to be a part of something special, something with a real vibe, I'm way more likely to go.
Exactly. And that kind of leads into this contrast with Live Nation and how much success they're having. They're bringing huge profits. And the newsletter points to a couple of reasons why. They've got a lineup of these iconic artists, like Taylor Swift, or these comeback tours from legends like the Rolling Stones. And those are the kind of things that tap into people's nostalgia and kind of our shared cultural history.
Yeah, they're kind of offering this guaranteed good time, something familiar and comforting in a world that feels pretty chaotic these days.
Exactly. And then on top of that, they're really leaning into this whole idea of a premium experience. VIP packages, exclusive access, meet and greets, all that stuff. They're offering this level of exclusivity that people are willing to pay a premium for.
So in a way, they're creating their own kind of tribe, I guess. But it's a tribe that's built around a shared love for these huge artists and a desire for this elevated experience.
I think that's a great way to put it. And it speaks to a larger trend, I think, that we're seeing in entertainment in general. This desire for something special, something that goes beyond just the ordinary, is becoming more and more important to people. It's not just about the content itself anymore. It's about the entire experience.
Yeah, and speaking of experience, this whole idea of crafting the entire experience is something we see in the movie industry as well, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The newsletter touches on this too. It talks about how some theater chains like AMC are really struggling, but then you have others like Cinemark that are breaking sales records. And a lot of that success is tied to their premium offerings.
So it's not just about catching the latest blockbuster anymore. It's about having an amazing experience while you do it. What are they doing differently?
It's all about premiumification.
Yeah.
They're spending a ton of money on modernizing theaters to offer audiences a truly enhanced experience. You're talking Dolby Atmos sound systems, laser projections so you get those crystal clear images, even luxury seating with recliners and in-theater dining.
Oh, wow. Okay, that actually does sound pretty tempting. I could definitely get down with that. Yeah. So it's they're taking the classic movie-going experience and turning it up to 11. They're saying, hey, you can watch this at home on your couch, but come to us and we'll give you a truly immersive experience that you won't forget.
Exactly. And even IMAX is seeing a big resurgence. The newsletter mentioned that they're expecting a huge blockbuster year in 2025. And that tells me that the demand for these larger-than-life immersive experiences is just growing and growing.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, okay, so...
Yeah, we got it. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it seems like we're seeing a real shift in consumer expectations. When it comes to entertainment, people are craving these elevated experiences, whether it's at a concert, a movie theater, or even just watching a show at home.
Which brings us to the world of streaming. I mean, it's been booming for a while now, but it feels like things are really heating up even more now. Oh, for sure. And the newsletter has some really interesting trends in this area, too. For example, it highlights Warner Bros. Discovery and how much success they're having with their streaming service Max. Their profits are going way up, and it's driven largely by hits like House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a good dragon show, right? But
Yeah.
they're not the only ones, it seems like. The newsletter also mentioned Amazon, Disney, plus Paramount, plus all doing really well.
Yeah, and it's not just about the content that they're putting out there. They're also finding creative ways to make money off of their platforms.
Huh.
So, for example, you have some like Netflix that are incorporating ad-supported plans so that they can reach a wider audience. And then you have others that are focusing on bundling services or offering premium tiers with exclusive content and things like that.
It's like they're constantly experimenting, trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Balancing affordability, but also still giving people that premium experience.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have this rise of all these genre-based streamers like Hallmark, Shudder, Crunchyroll, and they're finding a lot of success by really focusing on specific audiences, delivering content that caters to their passions.
What's interesting to me is how that kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier with tribalism. These genre-specific streamers are creating their own communities of fans, all united by a shared love for a particular type of content.
Absolutely. And because they have such a focused audience, they can really tailor their marketing campaigns in a way that's effective. It's all about building a loyal fan base that feels seen and understood.
It's like they're creating these little mini universes where fans can totally immerse themselves in their favorite genres. Okay, so we've talked about festivals, movies, and streaming. What about good old-fashioned music streaming? What's the word on Spotify these days?
Well, Spotify has actually been making headlines because they've finally achieved profitability. They're actually projected to stay in the black for the entire year. And a lot of that has to do with some strategic cost-cutting measures that they've implemented, including like a reduction in their marketing budget.
Oh, that's interesting. So while some entertainment giants are like doubling down on marketing and immersive experiences, Spotify's taking a more streamlined approach.
Right. And they also just recently increased the price of their premium plan. So it seems like they're focusing more on maximizing the revenue they get from their existing subscriber base rather than, aggressively pursuing new customers.
That makes sense, but it's not like they're just resting on their laurels or anything. The newsletter mentioned something about them going after YouTube in the video podcast space.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It seems like Spotify sees a big opportunity when it comes to video podcasts. And they're willing to put in the money to build that side of their platform up.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one more player we need to talk about, Nintendo. The newsletter mentioned some pretty interesting moves that they've been making lately.
Yeah, Nintendo's a fascinating case study. On the one hand, they've secured some serious backing from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, and they're exploring all these different ventures that go beyond just gaming, like themed restaurants and hotels.
Oh, okay, this is where my inner fangirl gets excited. A Nintendo-themed restaurant. Sign me up. But wait, I thought their console sales were declining. Wasn't that a big chunk of their revenue?
You're right, the demand for the Switch has definitely been going down. But on the flip side, they've found a ton of success with mobile gaming, especially with that Pokemon TCG Pocket game. It's bringing in like $1 billion a year through in-app purchases.
Wait, $1 billion? That's insane. So it seems like they're really trying to diversify their revenue streams and, finding new ways to engage audiences beyond their traditional gaming market.
Exactly. They're leveraging those iconic characters and all that intellectual property to create these new experiences and attract a wider audience. It's a smart move, especially considering how much the entertainment landscape is changing.
It's like they're building a whole Nintendo ecosystem. You can play their games, dine in their restaurants. You can probably even spend the night in a Mario-themed hotel room. I mean, that's pretty brilliant. But it makes you wonder...
What does all of this mean for the future of entertainment?
Exactly. It feels like we're at a crossroads with all these different trends pulling the industry in different directions.
Yeah, for sure. Consumers want more. They want experiences that are both premium and personalized. And these companies are trying to figure out how to adapt, trying to find that balance between innovation and affordability.
So where do we go from here? What does this all mean for the average person who just wants to, enjoy some entertainment?
We started this deep dive by looking at what's new and noteworthy in the world of entertainment.
And it turns out there's a lot going on. We've seen how much this desire for premium and exclusive experiences is shaking things up, from concerts and festivals to movie theaters.
And then you have streaming services that are catering to all these niche audiences, offering more affordable ways for people to just escape and enjoy themselves.
Right.
And then, of course, you have all that pressure on what the newsletter called the mid-market entertainment sector, which is trying to find its footing between those two trends.
Yeah, it's a dynamic landscape for sure, constantly shifting and responding to what we, the consumers, want.
And all of this change kind of brings us to a pretty important question.
A question that you, our listener, are in a really unique position to consider.
With all these trends happening all around us, what do you think the future holds for the entertainment industry?
Are we going to see this focus on high-end experiences become even more dominant? Will everyone be clamoring for VIP treatment and exclusive access?
Or will we see a resurgence in demand for those more accessible, budget-friendly options? Or maybe a blend of both?
And what about the role of technology? Will streaming continue to be king? Or will something totally new come along and disrupt the game?
We'd love to hear your thoughts,
Yeah.
your predictions, your hopes, even your concerns about where entertainment's headed. Share them with us.
Because at the end of the day, entertainment is all about connection, right? It's about sharing experiences and ideas, getting lost in stories and sounds.
And we believe that some of the most valuable perspectives often come from the audience themselves.
So until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world of entertainment.
And who knows, maybe your insights will spark our next adventure.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well,